Hello, and welcome back to another Pen Talk. Thank you very much for tuning into my channel on the amazing YouTube network. And today we're going to look at a very interesting pen from Asvine, forget my pronunciation. I received this pen from them, and I'm amazed, blown away, impressed. They've made some nice improvements to this pen. It's certainly one of the largest ones they've ever made. Very impressive. A little bit over the top, but I wanted a golden red with this skeleton design because I don't have that color combination. So we'll take a look at this pen in some more detail, compare it to some of the many other pens from Asvine. And we're going to wait for Mr. Crab to give you a wink, and we will dive in. Stay tuned. I got this pen delivered to me early by Asvine. It's now on Amazon as of today. It comes in many colors, and take advantage of the coupon. Prime shipping, and here's the various colors. As you can see, it's pretty similar to the color combinations that they've used in their other skeleton pens. All of them are quite nice. I'm certain there's one of these combinations that might be just perfect for you. Yes, the can came in a box. As I mentioned before, I like this little insert here, so it's easy to take the flap out, slide out the plastic box inside. They've just done a nice job. I think this is very efficient packaging, as good as anything you're going to get in the fountain pen world. Not over the top, functional. Doesn't add a lot to the cost of the pen. Pop off the top and you'll see this nice instruction manual. Nice black and gold there. And it tells you about all the filling mechanisms. We looked at that before. And I now have another wrench to add to my collection. Here's the pen. Very impressive. Slide it out of its sleeve. So we're going to explore this pen. It's certainly impressive. Size and look. So you may ask, how big is this pen? Well, it's too big to fit into the slot. As you can see, you can force it in, but it's longer than anything else. They need to cut out this foam insert to accommodate this large pen from Asvine. So the things to ask about is, how does this pen feel? When you pick it up, it has that nice hefty feel to it. You run your fingers over the filigree and there's no sharp edges. It's a different clip. This is that folded metal clip, and a lot of like the V169s have a very solid clip, but this is very functional. Stiff enough, open enough to fit over some heavy fabric. Fit and finish is good, as we would expect. The other nice little detail touch is how they've taken this metal all the way down and put a nice little concave design here, so there's a step up, but you don't feel any edge there. The cap comes off in a little over one turn, which is excellent. Really appreciate that. Jin Hao, take notice. We see a nice medium nib. And Asvine also has been good at putting that M there, or E for extra fine or fine. That's pretty much the range of their nibs. Hopefully someday they'll have a long blade, long knife option. I would expect that. The other thing is there's no edge here to the step up, kind of like the same design that they have at the end of the cap. Very smooth, feels very good in the hand. That section is also their standard good section. Long enough you can hold it anywhere, and I don't find it slippery at all. My hands are on the dry side, and it fits great in the hand. This is a good size pen. I think that ink in there really goes well with that red design on the piston filler there. The downside to the design is posting. Yes, you can put the cap there, and yes, it does significantly backweight the pen, but it does put the balance right about here, a little bit above the crooks of the hand, which is not where I like it. I like to balance more towards the nib. But the bad point is this turns the piston. It's right on the blind cap. So, like Twisby, not a good design in my viewpoint. I don't know what I would have done. Made the cap open a little bit more, made this a little thinner, so you actually post on the barrel and not on the blind cap. But since I'm not a poster, that's not going to bother me. But I know a lot of people, the first time they grab a pen and uncap it, the first thing they do is post it. And many times they might twist the cap as it's posted. And if they did that on this pen, they could squirt ink out. That's something to keep in mind. And I like the way the filigree in this skeleton pattern has a nice design element there. Could be a spider. It's hard to really tell. But they've made a change to it. So they kept the same skeleton on the V169s, and even when they went cartridge converter, they did that. But I like the fact that they've made a little design change. And that pattern is replicated on the cap and barrel. Reverse image here. It takes some effort, some design work. Maybe people will say, hey, this is a unique pen. Who knows what people will say. And personally, I don't care. It's how a pen feels to me, how I enjoy the pen. That's what matters. And this pen is very easy to enjoy. What ink to put in my phenomenal P80? Well, this ink called out to me. I tried it in another pen and wasn't impressed, but I think this medium nib Asvine will do it justice. And yes, it's a pretty intense red. Could have some shading to it. Part of the Gemstone series. I got 10 of them. And here's their color card. The real important thing is how it writes. So yes, the nib stopped writing here. I hadn't written the full page with the pen after filling it, so I don't attribute this to anything, but since then, no skips, no hard starts, no nothing. It's been a couple days since I wrote this part. So then I finished it up. I filmed a lot of the other video in the meantime. So as usual, this is a great medium steel nib, number 6. And when we look at all the Asvine pens, they all have number 6 nibs, which is also another feature that they all share. I would say it's a fairly wet writer. The Monteverdi ink is on the wet side, so this is to be expected, but still nice to see. And I do enjoy the color. Again, another great writer from Asvine. So I assembled these Asvine pens to show you the incredible range that they've had in a very short period of time, a couple years, that this pen maker has been selling pens. Here we have the latest one, the P80. It is by far the biggest pen of this group, the heaviest pen of this group, and one of the more ornate pens, and that's saying a lot in this group. So the other thing Asvine has done is these are all rounded, bullet-nosed, torpedo, cigar shape, whatever you want to say. And these are flat-ended pens. The P20 has some nice conical points to the ends. They have a fairly large variety of clips, too. And that's one of the things that I find just surprising about this pen maker. The other thing these all have in common, I'll give you a moment to guess. They're all turned acrylic from a rod. No injection molding, no made out of metal, even though these have the skeleton metal overlays. And here's gold, here's rhodium. This blue one here is a cartridge converter. I think it's maybe the only one that they've made. Piston fill, vac fill, piston, vac. And these are two interesting pens because here you have a glossy finish, here you have a matte finish. I really just appreciate the amount of variety that they've been able to produce. All incredibly well-made pens, all pens that I think anybody would be happy to own. Some may be too heavy, some may be too big, some may be too gaudy. And Gaudy is one of the architects that made a design that looks similar to this skeleton, which I read in some person's comments. But here they made a change. They've incorporated some different elements into that skeleton. So I thought you would appreciate this. Look at some amazing pens from an amazing pen maker. We'll try to zoom in a little bit just so you can appreciate these in all their glory. I just find it one of the things that brings a smile to my face and a pleasure to my enjoyment of pens is these amazing varieties that we can enjoy. As I mentioned, not every pen is for everybody, but everybody should be able to find a pen. Is yours among these? So part of the fun part about doing a video review is every time I do it and watch it, I think of other things that I should have talked about. So how can we ignore this matte black finish here on the V169? It's a pen that's certainly gone through a lot of changes. Here we have a translucent green, translucent blue. This also has a blue behind it. This is that red and gold. Here we have your classic acrylics with some pearlescence, chatoyancy to them. The majority of these have some clear resins that were used, that were turned, and obviously the completely transparent one, the glass-looking ones, are done very, very well. And these skeleton overlay ones also came. This one has a clear barrel and cap underneath of the skeleton overlay. I tried to line all these up so the tops of the pens are at the same spot, so you can look at the bottom and look at the different lengths. I just find these to be amazing pens. I'm very happy to own them, and I have a declaration to make. Asvine has replaced Pen BBS as the go-to pen maker of 2023 with their great variety of pens, extremely well made, and their first piston-filled pen worked great right out of the box, unlike Pen BBS's 308. But they did eventually, many years later, create an upgrade. But Pen BBS also has great variety, but no metal overlays that I remember. And they also have a lot of cartridge converters, but they also have a bulk filler. They have a touchdown filler. They have a lot of varieties, but they also have vac fillers, and those fillers work pretty well. But again, I think the torch has been passed to Asvine. So I mentioned I thought that was all of my Asvine pens, but no. I left out this V126. So I think this is a good two pens to compare. Couldn't be much different. Nice, subtle, matte, stealthy pen. And nice, over-the-top, in-your-face pen. But they do share one interesting thing in common. They have that same type of step down from the cap to the barrel. So you can run your finger across here, and it's just a smooth transition. But if we unscrew the cap, this one you can feel the step up. It's not bad, but it's certainly there. Here, it's all rounded off. So again, Asvine has continued to improve. Nice, subtle little changes that make their pens just even nicer to use. And yes, I enjoy all of my Asvine pens. throw in a little bit of a bonus writing sample. For those of you that may not look at my other Asvine reviews, this is that V126 Stealthy with an extra fine nib, and as you can see, it's also a generous writer. All of the Asvine nibs, I think, are generous, so even the extra fines are more closer to a fine than not. So we've done a little bit of exploration of this P80 pen. And this is that newer design of the nib assembly that has that nice O-ring here, another one down at the bottom. The threads are the same as the original nib assembly and nib collar, which was the same as Moonman used. As you can see, it's a medium nib. The tipping material's not quite as much as I've seen on medium Asvine nibs before, but we need to see how it will write. Everything is very well made, fit and finish, etc., etc. There's a ledge inside there that seals up against the section. And much to my joy, the piston seems to go all the way up. So let's use our trusty measuring stick and let's see how far up that piston actually goes. Whoa! It's up further than I've done before. So Asvine is definitely up their game as far as building this piston assembly and making it as efficient as possible. So as we showed, it came with this amazing wrench to fit almost every pen. So if you push the piston all the way down by turning this blind cap counterclockwise, or lefty-loosey, you'll see that this larger end here fits that slot well. You can see how they flattened the ends there. So it doesn't use this interesting end here that they've done on some other of their pens. And these other two are smaller. But I'm just blown away. Really nice that they include this wrench that fits so many pens in addition to the pen the wrench was put in with. So you saw a lot of pens in this video. I'll create an Asvine playlist so you can look at all those video reviews if you want to see more about the pens and more details. But I'm just impressed as they continue to evolve, improve, and add to the models that they're selling. And this is just part of that evolution. I'll give you the dimensions of the pen. And yes, it's about a gram heavier than the other pens, the V169. And it's a couple millimeters longer than the P36, the brass one. But that kind of puts it, as I said, the biggest and heaviest pen that they've made to date by a little bit. So all in all, hope you've enjoyed this visual look at another amazing pen. We're going to do a final write out and say bye. So again, I like the way it writes. I've not had a dud in any of my Asvine pens as far as their ability to lay down a nice line of ink. Another trait that I really admire about them. So I've reached the conclusion of this video. I want to thank everyone for watching, and I hope this video finds everyone safe, healthy, and happy, enjoying your pens, whatever they are, whatever they cost. That's immaterial. What really matters is the enjoyment that you get from owning them, writing with them, drawing, doodling, sketching. That's it. So with that, we've reached the end of this video, and we will say bye-bye. Until next time. Yep, nice consistent writer. I like it.